All right, now we want to talk about another concept, and this addresses the statement that you may hear out there from time to time. And that statement is this: why would I buy permanent life insurance? I can do better with my money. When you hear this objection, which you will hear from time to time, this is what we suggest you say. All right, so you hear this from your prospect. I'm not going to buy permanent insurance, or I don't believe in buying permanent insurance because I can do better with my money. You will then simply say this: compared to what? So I can do better with my money. Oh, okay. Compared to what? Compared to what? Just ask them that question, and they'll probably kind of look at you like, "Well, I don't really understand what the question is." So then you want to immediately jump in and say this: it sounds to me like you're a fairly savvy investor. And if you're a savvy investor, you obviously know about the number one rule for long-term successful investing. And what is that rule? That rule is diversification. And they'll look at, oh, of course, I understand that. It's very important to diversify. Everybody knows this, especially now, after what we went through in 2007, 2008, early 2009. Everybody understands, once again, that diversification is critical when it comes to success in long-term investing. So, once we've made that statement, obviously you understand the importance of diversification. Immediately jump in and draw this. It's on a sheet of paper. Just draw the T. So what I'm talking about is, when I'm talking about diversification is, obviously you understand that some of your investments need to be aggressive, or sometimes that labels, or those are growth investments. So you have those aggressive growth investments. But then you also need to be diversified and have some that are safe, or a portion of your portfolio that's safe, right? And they'll agree with you every time. Of course, that makes perfect sense. And then we move to the next step. Well, kind of what we use is the Wall Street rule of thumb that says, when you're looking at how much should I have up here versus what I have down here, what is that mix? The Wall Street rule of thumb simply bases it on what? Your age. So if you're 50 years old, a good mix for you might be, if you're fairly aggressive, 60-40. If you're very conservative, then you'd be looking at probably a 50-50 mix, correct? And they're going to agree with you on this because it makes sense. All right. So when I asked you the question, compared to what I was asking you was, when you said you could do better with your money, are you comparing it to these investments, or were you comparing it to these investments? Okay. Well, you get interesting responses. Okay. So what I would say to them now is, well, if you're comparing it to your aggressive portion of your portfolio, I'd agree with you. As a matter of fact, me personally, in my personal portfolio, the assets that I have that are aggressive, I'm very bullish on that. I'm looking for 20, 30, 40, even some of my investments, I'm looking for 100% return. Okay? So I agree with that. But down here on the safe side, okay, what could you expect today? For assets that are safe, what kind of return could you expect? Well, the answer that you're going to get is, in today's marketplace, if you could get 1 to 2%, you'd be very fortunate. I have some mutual funds, money market funds myself, that are literally paying nothing. It's almost a 0%. Okay? So you're looking at about a 1 to 2% return. And what are your options down here for safe money? Well, you could have it in a CD. You could have it in a money market account. You could have it in a savings account. You could have it in potentially some tax-free bonds. Of course, you'd only do that if you were looking for income at this point. But those are really your options. And if your money is there, what could you expect today on a return? Well, 1 to 2%. So when I ask you the question, what are you comparing it to? Again, are you comparing it to these assets or are you comparing it to these assets? What I was comparing it to was here. What if I could show you a way that we could take this return and over time, again, we're not talking about money in, money out. And everybody needs safe money that is for that. That's savings. That you're going to put the money away, but you need access to it. But a portion of this down here is long-term as well. So if I could show you a way that we could get this to 4 to potentially 6%, would you be interested in seeing that? And what if this, the 4 to 6%, provided this? What if it was tax deferred? You'd pay no income tax on the growth. Well, that interests you. What if it was 100% sheltered from your creditors, potential creditors in litigation? And you have a death benefit leverage. And if you were to die, that face amount would go to your heirs tax-free, versus if you died with any of these, that would be taxable to your beneficiaries. And if you follow the rules, you can have access to that money tax-free. Would you be interested in seeing that? And again, if we've gotten to this point, we've already established that there is a death benefit need. So a portion of their safe money could be allocated to, and what is the product that we're talking about here? Safe, guaranteed money that has these benefits. We're talking about whole life insurance. Not putting all their safe money into whole life insurance, but should they consider a portion of these assets down here for whole life insurance? Try it. I think you'll find this, it works out very, very well. Again, remember what this is about. When you hear that objection, I would never buy permanent insurance because I can do better with my money. You're going to say, compared to what? And then move right into the presentation.